this is Data Report with datareport.info with today's pandemic update video. Today we learned that Jay Inslee, who is the governor of Washington State, tested positive for coronavirus. Jay Inslee, who is the governor of Washington State, tested positive today, February 1st. He is 71 years old. This is his second time dealing with COVID, as he first had it on May 25th of 2022. Taking a look at the CDC transmission map, the numbers on the right are still wrong. The highest areas of high transmission are east of the Mississippi River, with less of them in the West Coast where there's more substantial, moderate, or low transmission. The majority of Puerto Rico is in high transmission, and a good portion of Alaska is also in high transmission. The most frequent variants that we have at this time are XBB 1.5, which is at 61.3%. BQ 1.1 is at 21.8%. BQ 0.1 is at 9.3%. XBB is at 2.8%. CH 1.1 is at 1.5%. And BN.1 is at 1.4%. Taking a look at today's hospitalizations, you will see hospitalizations did increase some over yesterday. And here they are, 31,169 people in the hospital. 77.67% of all beds are being used. 4.62% of them are being used for coronavirus. And let's take a look at a couple other states, or a couple of the states, shall we? How about my state, Pennsylvania? How's that doing? 1,721 people in the hospital for COVID, 78.84% of beds being used. How about California? I'm curious, what's California like? Ruh-roh. So they have 2,993 people in a hospital for COVID, but look at this. 80.6% of all beds are being used in California. That's concerning. How about Texas? What's going on in Texas? I'm curious. 78.94% of all beds being used. 2,476 people in the hospital for coronavirus. Moving on to New York State. New York State had 3,238 new cases today. Today's positivity rate is 6.1%. The 7-day average positivity rate is 5.8%. Hospitalizations in New York State. 2,623 people are in the hospital in New York State. 290 people are in the ICU. Taking a look at Texas. Let's refresh this for today's numbers. Hopefully Texas updated today. And looks like they did. New confirmed cases, 12,328. New probable cases, 10,197. Let's take a look at hospitalizations, shall we? Texas hospitalizations on their dashboard are down to 2,142. Alrighty. Moving on to the Walgreens map. Here on Walgreens, you will see there was an ever so slightly drop in the Walgreens positivity rate today. Current week's positivity rate is 33.2%. Prior week was 33.4%. Total testing this week so far, 27,026. That's over the last 7 days. The previous 7 days had 31,428. Let's take a look at a few states, shall we? Maine is still rising with 31.7% positivity. That's an increase of 3.7%. The rise there is starting to slow up a little bit. New Hampshire, the rise is increasing. It is 42.5% positivity rate, 34% last week. That's an increase of 8.5%. Take a look at New York State. New York State has been seeing a positivity increase. They are now at 41.3%. That's a difference of 3.6% over the 37.7% they had last week. Kansas, if you remember, Kansas has been a legitimate rise, and they continue to be. 39.6% positivity rate. The prior week was 30.5%. That's a difference of 9.1%. Current week testing, 182. Prior week, 164. Let's take a look at California, shall we? California, current week's positivity rate, 31%. Prior week, 27.3%. Difference of 3.7%. Total testing this week is down 1,342 versus the 1,528 from last week. Yes, testing's down, but I think part of the reason for their positivity rising, and we'll know more about this in the coming days, I think part of the reason why it's rising, XBB is increasing there, and they have not had their XBB wave yet. So that could allow for some extra cases and a higher caseload. Alaska, total tests, 57 this week versus the 49 last week, which also represents an increase in positivity. So this is a legitimate rise. 36.8% this week. Prior week was 32.7%. That's a difference of 4.2%. Hawaii positivity. Check this out. 32% this week, 18.2% last week. That's a difference of 13.8%. That's a significant rise. All right, that's enough of the states. We could go on till we're blue in the face. Let's move on to deaths. Yesterday's report, let's refresh this. Maybe today's report came in, but yesterday's report showed 442 new deaths added, so we were already at about 500 and I believe that's 597 deaths already this month. Or this week, I should say, 597 deaths, and we're likely going to go over 2,000 again this week. Will we go over 3,000? Too soon to say, but we'll have to see what today and tomorrow bring. Usually Wednesdays and Thursdays have the highest number of deaths due to weekly state reportings. All right, something else I want to show you. Let's go to the international picture here. Japan. Weekly case change is dropping. It's down by 37%. But I do want to point something out about Japan. Let's take a look at total new deaths. Japan has 308 total new deaths today. Yikes, that's not good. Let's go back to weekly trends. There's some other trends I want to show you. Taiwan is now on a 37% increase in cases. And in the last 7 days, they've had 169,332 versus the previous 7 days that had 123,422. Germany is up 24%. 78,648 cases in the last 7 days, 63,386 in the previous 7 days. Russia is up by 21% with 46,614 last 7 days, 38,634 the previous days. Austria is at 20,773 cases this week versus 14,604 the previous week. That's up by 42%. So as you're seeing here, Europe is definitely seeing some rises in cases. Here's another one. Poland is up 36%. 3,175 this week, 2,335 last week. What can we learn from this? Well, if you've been following the pandemic from day one up until at least about mid last year, we constantly followed Europe. So we're going to have to watch what happens here. Remember back here on the CDC variant proportion update that I was talking about a little bit ago? You have that CH1.1 variant. It's at 1.5% in the United States. It is more dominant over in Europe right now, and it's clearly causing a wave there. Will it ever outpace XBB 1.5? I cannot answer that question at this time. It's too early, but it is definitely causing a wave in Europe. And at some point, we have to watch, could Europe be a predictor again of what's going to happen here? At this early stage in the ball game, I would not rule that out from coming back just because of the fact that CH1.1 is already starting to show its ugly head here. Just like we did have in the past, BA 2.75, which did as well, and was already more prominent in Europe, and that ended up being a dead end. So will CH1.1 be a dead end, or will it eventually take over XBB? Too soon to say. Keep watching. Alrighty, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching this pandemic update video. Unfortunately, this is our last pandemic update video for this week. We will have another one next week. I am going to try and get one more video in again tomorrow before I am going to take a little break from doing these videos. But have no fear, they will return next week. Thanks for watching, and hit the like and subscribe button down below. Stay safe, everyone. See you next time.